and how we're not caring for everyone. Not everyone gets the same care. I know we say that we have the same medical care here, but we really don't. And pharmacare doesn't cover very much. Not what people might think it might. So and then there's these billionaires, and they want to live forever, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't seem to care about us very much, or the money that they're taking. So this is called Life Expectancy, and it begins with a quote from Yuval Noah Harari's Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow. They maintain that anyone possessing a healthy body and a healthy bank account in 2050 will have a serious shot at immortality by cheating death a decade at a time. It's 2025, and the rich are already buying time. They cheat death a decade at a time, while others are consistently considered an unnecessary expense. Very sad. We won't go into all of it. You probably know it. The third chapter is called Love and Marriage, No Baby Carriage. Because I met Gary when I was 50 and he was 55, so we already had our own children. And for many, many years, he was very, very healthy, and I had fibromyalgia, and he would take care of me quite a bit. And then he started getting sick. And his phone is ringing. It's a message, I'm sure. Very 80s. Is it a sign not to read this poem? I'm not sure. So, he's nearly died a few times. And as a matter of fact, one time he had COVID, and I was told to come and say goodbye to him. I said, that's it. I hadn't seen him for 6 weeks. He was in isolation. They said, come and say goodbye. He's not going to live. And then after that, there was many times he was very, very sick, and I was wondering, is this it? And I had to call the ambulance. It's very traumatic to call an ambulance. Who here has ever had to do that? And you're scared to death, right? You're thinking, you don't call them for no reason. It's a serious matter. You're waiting, wondering how long it's going to take. And you're like, my nerves were getting shot from every time having to do that, because he was stubborn. He wouldn't go to the ER. So I have to get to the point where he didn't know what was going on anymore. And I have permission to tell this story. I asked him. He doesn't know what's going on anymore. Then I can call the ER. So this is called thinning. It's got 2 sections. So first one, most days he lives in the thinning, that in-between place where here, not here, hangs in the air, and I become shimmer, lighting his way home. Again and again, I find myself by his bedside, holding him here. I have learned to speak soothing, need to believe I can slow time. 2. He does not know how it feels to call the ambulance, does not remember things said, and how he called me after they left the apartment. We're downstairs, can you bring me my sweater? He does not know the way I ran to the elevator, down 6 floors, only to find no one there. Back up 6 floors to call him back. He insists we're just out front. We circled the block, we're back. He does not know how I ran to the elevator, down 6 floors, just in time to hear the paramedic announce they had arrived at the ER. He was not downstairs. So there was times where he wouldn't actually know what was happening. And those moments are kind of scary. And then the last section is called To Be a Daughter, because what I realized writing this book is that it's a lot about being a woman and how women are caregivers. And I sat by my mother's bed when she was dying for 10 days, and she asked me to sit there, not my dad, not my brother. She knew that neither of them would do what I would do, which would be sleep in a cot beside her and be with her. And I know that there are some men that may do such things, but we're talking a long time ago too. Things are changing. So to be a daughter, to be a daughter in a world where my grandmothers had all kinds of pain and sorrow, but they never told us. They never told us what happened to them. They never warned me. I still can't believe it. They didn't warn me about what could possibly happen. Things like that. It was just, they just had sort of taken everything in. And to be a daughter, to be a good daughter, what did that mean? It's very, very complicated. But there's also amazing stuff that comes from being a woman, in my opinion. And I'll read you a poem that speaks a bit to that. Another way of knowing. Women's bodies know the turning. They feel the shifting ground, find ways around it. Women's bodies know the waiting, how time turns on itself. Women's bodies know there is space between one sound and the next. Women's bodies know the night sky, how close we are to the stars, that the ancestors hold us when our mouths form O's. I tend to read a lot of strange stuff, so I've been a reader, a customer at Banyan Books since I moved to Vancouver over 35 years ago, and I would head straight for the new release section, and there was always be some really wild and crazy book there, and one of them was called Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins, and this is a quote from him. And the concept of thinking about power versus force, what is the difference, is really fascinating to me. And this is called, so he had a quote in there, as will be seen, the body can discern to the finest degree the difference between that which is supportive of life and that which is not. It's called buoyant. Theta breath spreads throughout, leaves a trail, mouse tracks, tiny travelers of my spine. Some branch out, spread to fingers, toes, the top of my head, where the ruffling of hair creates an inner warmth. Fluttering of fingers reminds of kelp in sea, waving. Once again fluid, my inner child goes from rocking to soothe herself to swaying, side to side. I was meant for softness, my body buoyant in water where I am free. I'm a big water baby. So just one more poem that I'm sure many of you who are here have been to the Royal City Centre Mall food court.
Why don't I ever see you there?
I don't
I'm
know.
there 4 days a week. I work upstairs.
Oh my goodness, well I am there, and so is Gary sometimes, but one thing you need to know that comes later in the poem is that there's this thing in the poem called a sea squirt. Has anyone ever heard of a sea squirt or seen the sea squirt?
Yes.
They're really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, they're little, they're in the water, and they're like two tubular things, and they're attached to coral, and they sway in the coral, and they come in all kinds of different colors. Well, apparently, some say they're our earliest ancestors, and that's what this is. Water in, water out. It's still the same kind of, that's our first body part. But there's some really amazing things about them that a woman I know likes to explore the idea that, okay, if this is our ancestor, they could regrow themselves, clone themselves, fix a body part, like a part that got ripped off or whatever. Maybe we still have some of that in us somehow, some way, who knows. So sea squirts will show up in here. So in the swaying a memory, we rode the waves of knowing, not knowing, that we are one, that we all rose from the sea, that we are all muscle memory, many neurons firing inside an evolution. Rhetoric incoming, a constant attack, inside, outside, so many veto points, and somehow, in the midst of it all, I delete all my emails. One compassionate act for my body, unintended. And later that day at the mall, a sign, do not lean on the glass. I smile, write that down, it could be a poem. Find a table at the food court, open a book, turn to science, a lineage I can trace back to water. The sea squirt waving, all of us clumped together, our rounded bodies firmly fixed to coral. Water in, water out, we resonated, left room for each other. Our watery movements, muscle memories I can feel. No one knows what I dream of, how I imagine all of us swaying in the food court. Can't you just see it? No one knows we could synchronize, move as one. If only we could remember where we came from and the days we spent swaying together, moving as one.
Oh, that is so